Hey, shalom, shalom. Now, first and foremost, as always, just want to give all praises, glory, and honor due unto Yahweh Bahashem Yahushai, Bahashem Rakah Chodash, and double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone of GMS. To you, I say shalom, and shalom to the hopeful elect, Kwam Yasha'Allah and Abad Bubal. All right, so I just want to go into the topic of stammering lips, aka uncircumcised lips. And what inspired me to do this video is from the live lesson that I just finished doing with the brothers as of late or recently. At the end of the live show, when it was over, we ended up getting into the conversation of stammering lips and how you should deal with it. And it made me think about Moses and Aaron going into Exodus, the 6th chapter. And when reading that, when reading about Moses asking the Lord, well, I can't speak, the people won't listen to me. I'm not a strong speaker. It showed that he was very cognizant of that. He was cognizant of his accent. He was cognizant of how he spake to the people. And he wanted to make sure that the message was getting across the right way. So, you have to be in that same spirit too. And I'm not saying be weary or lack faith. I'm just saying you have to always make sure that you're teaching properly and you're saying things, and especially saying things properly. That's very important. You may be a brother that you may have probably grown up maybe in a Hamitic country, and you speak the language of Ham better than you do speak English. And now you've probably moved to an English-speaking country, and now you got to interact with Israelites who speak English. Now, they're not going to always understand you because of your accent or by the way you speak. So it's harder for you to talk to them, right? Especially if you're teaching them the word, because we know the word, when you go into the King James Bible, is written in English, right? So that's what everybody over here in North America is familiar with. So other Israelites, if you're teaching them, they may not understand you correctly. Now, if that's the case, there's a way to deal with that, right? So I'm here to talk about that, because we do have individuals or brothers that are going through that, and you have to understand you have to understand when to refrain from speaking sometimes, especially if you're a young brother. Okay. Now let me start off with Isaiah chapter 50, verse 4. I want to start off with that. Okay. Because at the end of the day, if the Spirit is on you, hands down, man, the message is going to get across. No matter what. Okay? It will. All right? Especially if the Spirit is on you. Now, if the Spirit is not on you to actually be a speaker, then that's when you have to refrain. All right? You have to step back, and then you have to let someone interpret things for you. Especially if you have a heavy accent or if you speak a different language. Right? Don't try and force it, because it's just going to look sloppy. All right? And it's going to be a stumbling block. And the Lord may remove you, okay, if you're stiff-necked or if you don't want to accept it. Anyways, this is Isaiah chapter 50, verse 4 here, and it says, "The Lord, Yahweh Bashem Yoshai Power, hath given me the tongue of the learned, that I should know how to speak a word in season to him that is weary. He wakeneth morning by morning, he wakeneth mine ear to hear as the learned." That's right, and pretty much at the end of the day, Yahweh Bashem Yoshai, he is the one who made man's mouth. And when you go into Exodus 6, Exodus 4, he pretty much gave Moses the tongue of the learned to speak for the conviction and terror of Pharaoh, right? The Spirit was on Moses to let Pharaoh know that, hey man, you're going down. And that message came across. Right? It did. It came right across. Also, he gave Yahushua the tongue of the learned to speak a word in season for the comfort of those that were very weary and heavily laden under the burden of sin, right? So he put the Spirit on Yahushua to say what he had to say. And when he spoke, man, it drove home. So with that being said, no matter what, if the Spirit is on you, doesn't matter what language you speak, the point will get across if the Spirit of the Lord is working with you. All right? Hands down. Hands down. Always remember that. But now, if the Spirit is not on you to be a speaker, and you may have a different office, you have to consider that, and you have to accept that. And certain individuals, man, they don't want to accept that. Maybe you're just not a speaker, and that's not to get on you or to belittle you. It is what it is. That's just how the Spirit has it. There's nothing wrong with that. So move on. All right. So let's go into Exodus 6. Exodus 6 and 12. I'm going to go there because we're going to go into how Moses was very cognizant on how he spoke to his people. All right. The Israelites, being the Israelites. So this is Exodus chapter 6, verse 12. And Moses spake before Yahweh, saying, Behold, the children of Israel have not hearkened unto me. How then shall Pharaoh hear me, who am of uncircumcised lips? Now let's just look at that. Let's see what that goes into. And that also goes into stammering lips as well. It's interchangeable. Let's see here. Lip, language, speak, or speech, sorry. So different language. Let's go into uncircumcised, having foreskin. So it's not really cut, right? It's not really fluent. Okay, so he didn't speak the language fluently, pretty much. So sometimes if you don't speak another person's language fluently, it's going to sound confusing, or it's not going to sound right, and then that would cause people to not want to interact with you or speak with you, right? So he was cognizant of that, and the reason why I say that he wasn't speaking Hebrew fluently is because of the account of Ecclesiasticus Sirach chapter 32 verse 7. I'll get that because he probably had a heavy accent, because remember, Moses, he was taught in all the ways of Egypt, and he spoke the Egyptian language. So he actually spoke like a Hamite, right? And you brothers may be coming out of that, or whatever language you grew up speaking, right? So now it's time for you to interact with your own people who speak a different language. So now they might not understand you. Anyways, let me get the account of Sirach. Let me go into the Apocrypha. Excuse me. This is Sirach chapter 32. No, actually I don't think it's no, hold on. No, it's Acts, I believe. I'm sorry, I got the wrong book. Sorry, I'm thinking about something else. Let's get Acts chapter 7, and I think it's the 20th verse. Salaki about that. So let's get Acts chapter 7, verse okay, let's start at verse 21. Actually, I'll start at verse 20. This is Acts chapter 7, verse 20. In which time Moses was born and was exceeding fair and nourished up in his father's house 3 months. And when he was cast out, Pharaoh's daughter took him up and nourished him for her own son. And Moses was learned in all the wisdom of the Egyptians, and was mighty in words and in deed. And when he was full 40 years old, it came into his heart to visit his brethren, the children of Israel. So yeah, he grew up speaking the Hamite language, and he was really fluent in it, right? So automatically, man, he has an accent. He has a Hamitic accent. So now when he was of age, he was a full-grown man, a grown-ass man. Now he's like, okay, let me visit my people. Now he has to start speaking Hebrew. So that's not going to be easy, because you're so used to speaking that Hamitic language, and it's kind of gonna you're gonna become uncircumcised. You're gonna have those uncircumcised lips, or you're gonna start to stammer. And that's why I brought this precept out, just to prove that. Now, let's go into Exodus chapter 6. Let's go back. Exodus chapter 6, verse 12. And it says here, and Moses spake before Yahweh, saying, I'm going to read it again, saying, Behold, the children of Israel have not hearkened unto me. How then, Pharaoh, hear me, who am of uncircumcised lips? And Yahweh spake unto Moses and unto Aaron, and gave them a charge unto the children of Israel, and unto the Pharaoh, king of Egypt, to bring the children of Israel out of the land. So the Spirit was on him to be a leader, and he had to speak, right? So pretty much, man, Moses was conscious to himself that he had not the gift of gab or utterance, and he didn't really have command of the language, the Hebrew language, and he knew his talent did not lie that way, right? So that's why the Lord gave him Aaron to speak on his behalf, and you have to consider that too. You have to consider that, man. Hey, maybe I don't have that talent of speaking like how certain other brothers can speak. Now, if the Spirit is on you to speak, and you may have stammering lips, don't be afraid to let another brother interpret what you're saying. Okay, don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. Now let's go into Exodus 4. Let's start at 10. Exodus chapter 4, verse 10. And it says, And Moses said unto Yahweh, O my Lord, I am not eloquent, neither heretofore, nor since thou hast spoken unto thy servant, but I am slow of speech and of a slow tongue. Right? There you go. So, he's just not good at speaking. And that could be due to his accent, or he could have a speech impediment. Who knows, right? But that's why I read in Acts chapter 7, verse 20 on down, it said that he spoke Egyptian. So he was speaking that Hamite tongue. So that could have caused a hindrance of him speaking properly, or in Hebrew. So it says here, verse 11, And Yahweh said unto him, Who hath made man's mouth? Or who maketh the dumb, or deaf, or the seeing, or the blind? Have not I, Yahweh? So he's letting him know, hey man, don't worry about how you speak. Don't worry about how you speak. I'm in control of all of that. Don't worry about it. All right? Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. But that still doesn't mean that you shouldn't be cognizant of how things are going to come out either. Yes, you got to walk in faith, but like I said, man, if the Spirit is not on you to be a speaker or to be a mouthpiece, then you got to fall back. That's when 1 Corinthians chapter 14, verse 40 comes in. Let all things be done decently and in order. That's when you have to remember that, right? So just remember, things have to be done decently and in order. Never forget that. Verse 12, it says, Now therefore go, and I will be with thy mouth, and teach thee what thou shalt say. And he said, O my Lord, send, I pray thee, by the hand of him whom thou wilt send. And the anger of Yahweh was kindled against Moses. And the reason why he got angry is because he kept questioning the Lord, and doubting him, and doubting himself, and also doubting the Lord's power in terms of how the message would get out. All right, so now you can't doubt the Lord. Now, if you're in a position to speak, and you may speak bad, right? You may have a heavy accent, you may be stuttering your words. You gotta keep it moving, man. Especially if the Lord puts you in a position to teach, right? So it says here, and the anger of Yahweh was kindled against Moses, and he said, Is not Aaron the Levite thy brother? I know that he can speak well. And also, behold, he cometh forth to meet thee, and when he seeth thee, he will be glad in his heart. And thou shalt speak unto him, and put words in his mouth, and I will be with thy mouth and with his mouth, and will teach you what ye shall do. And he shall be thy spokesman unto the people, and he shall be, even he shall be to thee instead of a mouth, and thou shalt be to him instead of a power. All right, so the Lord can set somebody up to interpret things for you, right? So if you're a person that's slow to speak, or you have uncircumcised lips or stammering lips, the Lord may have another brother be with you to interpret what you're saying, right? And there's nothing wrong with that. You can't be proud to not accept that, right? Now, if you're a young brother in this truth, and you have stammering lips, there's a way that you have to function as well, right? You have to function. You can't just come up to the podium and start speaking whatever you want to say, right? It may be different for you. Now, I just want to go into that. This is what I want. This is Sirach chapter 32, verse 7. Speak, young man, if there be need of thee. That's right. So speak if there be a need of you. Okay. If you're needed, then that's when you speak. If you're not needed, then you shouldn't be speaking. All right. So if you have a heavy accent and brothers may pick up on it, and the Spirit's telling them, hey man, you know what? Maybe you should be a reader, or maybe you should hold posts. You should just accept that, because you're not needed for that. Okay, you're not needed to speak. All right, especially if you're young. Nobody really wants to hear somebody that's inexperienced when it comes to them breaking down the word, right? All right, so just keep that in mind. Only speak if you're needed, and yet scarcely when thou art asked. And yet scarcely when thou art twice asked. Tongue twister. Verse 8, let thy speech be short. That's right. So that's how you have to be, especially if you're young in the faith, and also if you're not speaking properly, if you're stuttering, if you have stammering lips, or if your lips are uncircumcised, then you should be short. Let your speech be short and just get to the point. Get to the point. Let thy speech be short, comprehending much in few words. That's right. It has to be few words. Okay? Few words. Get to the point. Boom. Next thing. Don't ramble on. Especially if you're not speaking properly. Be as one that knoweth and yet holdeth his tongue. That's right. So you got to know when to refrain from speaking. Especially if you can't speak properly. So that means shut your mouth. Be quiet. Be quiet. And if you do want to say something, ask another brother to bring it out and break it down for you. And when he's done breaking it down, add to what he's saying. There's no shame in doing that. Verse 9, if thou be among great men, make not thyself equal with them. That's right. There are a lot of great men. You know who's a great man? Abraham. Abraham's a great man. Scripture says that. So if you're around a man like that, that's great. Don't make yourself equal to him. Or if you're around a brother that's great at speaking, don't try and make it a pissing contest where you're trying to match him. Don't do that. Right? Make not thyself equal with them. And when ancient men are in place, use not many words. That's right. Ancient men just want to get to the point. Right? They're not interested in listening to you ramble. They're not interested in filler conversations or filler speeches. Right? Come on. So I just wanted to bring that out. I hope it was edifying. Right? I hope it was a little bit edifying there. Now, with that, actually, you know what? I don't know. I want to. Actually, you know what? That's it. The point was made. So with that, I just want to give all praises, glory, and honor due unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Rakah, Chodash, and double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone that do teach well and have taught me this truth. To you I say Shalom, and Shalom to the whole elect. Kwame Shalom and Abad Babal. Shalom.